few sandwiches were prepared for me, a bottle of beer, and the secretary upstairs was ready to grab some papers I had with me to photograph them. And in the end, John would ask me, where's the car? Is it underneath, like we agreed, or did you leave it in the street? And sometimes, with shame, I admitted I left it in the street, which was very dangerous. Because one day, the head of station, KGB general, drove past me when I was crossing the road. It turned out that he was such a poor driver that he simply failed to see me.
Oleg Antonovich Gordievsky was born in 1938 to an officer of the NKVD, the Soviet secret police and precursor to the KGB. On completion of his studies, Gordievsky joined the Foreign Service and was posted to East Berlin in August 1961, just before the erection of the Berlin Wall. The building of the wall appalled him so much that he became disillusioned with the Soviet system. After spending a year in Berlin, he returned to Moscow. Hello and welcome again to the Global Cultural Drift Podcast. Geopolitical Queen here, with today's episode on a KGB spy and traitor who escaped Moscow through a car boot. Oleg Gordievsky joined the KGB in 1963 and was posted to the Soviet embassy in Copenhagen in 1966. In August 1968, he began sending covert signals to Danish and British intelligence agents and agencies that he might be willing to cooperate with them. In 1974, he agreed to pass secrets to MI6, a step he viewed as nothing less than undermining the Soviet system. The MI6 operatives gave him the codename Sunbeam. His second posting to Denmark ended in 1978, and he was recalled to Moscow, this time for a lengthy period, because he had divorced his wife and married a woman with whom he had been having an affair. The KGB frowned upon affairs and divorces as immoral. During this Moscow period, it became too risky for him to send any information to MI6. After Gordievsky had learned to speak English, he lobbied heavily for a position that became vacant in London, and the KGB posted him to London in June 1982. He steadily advanced in rank with the help of secret aid and manipulation by MI6, from which he received abundant, non-damaging information and contacts. MI6 also steadily banished his direct superiors back to Moscow on trumped-up charges to enable Gordievsky take their place. While in London, his MI6 codename was NOCTON. The CIA, having been told of MI6's high-level informant, but not his name or position, gave him the codename Tickle. In late April 1985, Gordievsky was promoted to KGB Station Chief, Resident Designate or Resident, in London at the Soviet Embassy. He was abruptly summoned back to Moscow by telegram on the 16th of May, 1985. MI6 allowed him to make his own decision about whether to defect immediately to the UK and live thenceforth in secrecy under their protection, or whether to return to Moscow on the understanding that he could be interrogated, tortured, or killed if the KGB suspected his betrayal. Gordievsky felt, given the huge benefits MI6 would reap if he remained resident of the embassy, then he was being encouraged by MI6 to return to Moscow as ordered, and he decided to go. MI6, however, revived a plan to extricate him if necessary. Unbeknownst to him, Gordievsky had been betrayed in early May 1985, or early June at the latest, by a CIA officer known as Aldrich Ames, who needed $46,000 to satisfy his immediate divorce indebtedness. After returning to Moscow on 19th May 1985, Gordievsky was alleged to have been drugged and interrogated, but not charged with any crimes. He was placed in a non-existent desk job in a non-operational department of the KGB, under increasing surveillance and pressure in Moscow, and seriously suspected of being a double agent. He managed in July 1985 to send a prearranged signal to MI6 that he needed to be rescued. An elaborate escape plan for extracting Gordievsky from the USSR had been devised by MI6 in 1978, when the KGB called him back to Moscow for a few years after his second 3-year stint in Copenhagen. The escape plan was codenamed Operation Pimlico and was devised by an MI6 officer named Valery Petit. Although Gordievsky almost certainly remained under KGB surveillance, he managed to send a covert signal to MI6 to activate Pimlico, which had been in place for many years for just such an emergency. He waited on a particular street corner, on a particular weekday at 7:30 p.m., carrying a Safeway bag as a signal. An MI6 agent walked past carrying a Harrods bag, eating a Mars bar. The two made eye contact. These mutual signals indicated that the escape plan was to be activated immediately. On the 19th of July, 1985, Gordievsky went for his usual jog. He managed to evade his KGB tails and boarded a train to Leningrad, and then traveled to a rendezvous south of Viborg, near the Finnish border. There he was met by British embassy cars. After they had managed to evade the 3 KGB surveillance cars that had been following them, he was smuggled across the border into Finland in the boot of a Ford Sierra saloon. His couriers were 2 British diplomats and their wives with a baby. To deter the sniffer dogs at the Finnish border, one of the wives dropped her baby's dirty nappy on the ground, causing the dogs to flee. Gordievsky was flown to the UK via Norway. In the UK, his MI6 code name was changed to Ovation. Soviet authorities subsequently sentenced Gordievsky to death in absentia. The sentence was never rescinded by post-Soviet Russian authorities, but it could not be legally carried out because of Russia's then membership in the Council of Europe. His wife, Layla, an Azeri, was the daughter of a KGB officer and was unaware of her husband's defection. She and their 2 children were on holiday in the Azerbaijan SSR at the time of his escape. She was interrogated and detained for some 6 years. The Soviets presumed, but wrongly, that she had been complicit in Gordievsky's activities. The marriage was in effect dead by then, and it eventually ended. Living in the UK, Gordievsky wrote a number of books about the KGB and was frequently quoted in the UK news media on the subject. In 1990, he was appointed consultant editor of the journal Intelligence and National Security. On 26 February 2005, Gordievsky was awarded an honorary degree of Doctor of Letters by the University of Buckingham in recognition of his outstanding service to the security and the safety of the United Kingdom. He was further appointed Companion of the Order of St. Michael and St. George, CMG, for services to the security of the United Kingdom in the 2007 Queen's Birthday Honors in the diplomatic list. Oleg Antonovich Gordievsky died at his home in Godalming, Surrey on the 4th of March, 2025, at the age of 86. So here you have it, folks. Was Gordievsky a patriot or a traitor to his country that gave him the opportunity to head one of its notable agencies? Well, if you enjoyed listening to the story of Oleg Antonovich Gordievsky, then kindly leave your comments in the comments section below. And thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.